attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, when will that be? Attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, when will that be? Attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, when will that be? Attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, when will that be? Which means have no faith with the ninja rule, have no faith, you're the ninja rule, have no fear with the ninja rule, the new Nile is rising, have no fear with the ninja rule, have no fear, you're the ninja rule, have no fear with the ninja rule, the new Nile is rising, have no fear with the ninja rule, have no fear, you're the ninja rule, have no fear with the ninja rule, the new Nile is rising. Let's pass it. Right come around, you're right come around, who come around, you're right come around, you're who come around, you're right come around, 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 who come around, who come around, you're right come around, who come around, who come around, you're right come around, who come around, who come around. Attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, when will have me? Attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, when will have me? Attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, attack him who him the rule, when will have me? Which means have no fear with the ninja rule, have no fear, you're the ninja rule, have no fear with the ninja rule, the new Nile is rising, have no fear with the ninja rule, have no fear, you're the ninja rule, have no fear with the ninja rule, the new Nile is rising, have no fear with the ninja rule, have no fear, you're the ninja rule, have no fear with the ninja rule, the new Nile is rising. Let's pass it. Right come around, who come around, who come around, the right come around, who come around, who come around, the right come around, who come around, who come around, the right come around, who come around, who come around, the right come around, who come around, who come around. Put the sensor around you, right come around, who come around, who come around. Protect yourself, the right come around, who come around, who come around. Put the sensor around you, right come around, who come around, who come around. Protect yourself, the right come around, who come around, who come around. Put the sensor around you, right come around, who come around, who come around. Protect yourself, the right come around, who come around, who come around. Put the sensor around you, right come around, who come around, who come around. king, Mescaraba, Urakio, the 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 king, Mescaraba,
Yes, have no fear. Have no fear. We are the Netaru. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the World Media Coalition Zoom Legacy Builders Television Productions coming right out of Zurich, Switzerland. I hope you're all having a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening wherever you are. We definitely like to welcome you here today. My name is Ahmad Amar Mansour Ali El Bey. I am here in Zurich, Switzerland with the infamous Rio Amar Mansour Luan Beck. He's somewhere around the area. He'll probably pop up on screen in a little while. He's looking at me. I definitely like to give a warm welcome to everybody, people who've been here before and the new, there he goes. In the new ones, our new guest on the show. This is Rio. Say hi, Rio. Okay. So I'm coming out of Zurich, Switzerland. Before we get the show started, I would like to share with you guys something that's near and dear to my heart, a project that I've been working on for quite some time. And I will get that up right now. Excuse me, now I only have one hand, so. And there he goes. Okay. My name is Ahmad Simmons. In the capoeira world, they call me Feijão, and this is my story. Growing up in Red Hook was a typical project environment. A lot of negativity going on in the projects. You were either a drug dealer or a drug addict or a gangster, or that was kind of it. Our options were play basketball all day or be involved in some kind of negative activity. There wasn't a lot going on positively in the neighborhood. What got me out of the gang world and the street life was a couple of teachers' initiative to bring capoeira into my life and into the lives of my friends who were in high school just before we were about to get kicked out and expelled. Capoeira, it means holding on to a heritage, a culture, a lineage, being linked to the ancestors, and just holding the vision of a brighter future for the entire world, not just young black males or young black children, but just people in general.
Hi, my name is Olivia Morris, and I'm the director and producer of Feijão. I first met Ahmad, or Feijão as he's endearingly called within the capoeira community, a few months ago by taking one of his capoeira classes at my yoga studio. I'd heard of capoeira from a friend a few years ago, and I knew that it was some sort of martial art and that it had roots in Brazil and Africa, but I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I absolutely love capoeira, and it's been really fun taking some classes. But as I got to know Ahmad as a friend and an instructor, he told me about an organization that he had started in Morro de Sao Paulo, which is a tiny little island off the coast of Bahia. Guerreiros da Luz, or Light Warriors, is an organization that teaches kids how to do capoeira, other martial arts, positive thinking, the laws of attraction, English, science, arts and crafts, basically helping get kids off the streets and doing something productive with their time. I was very inspired as someone who's always been an activist involved with human rights and social justice, but also as a filmmaker to investigate what it'd really be like to be a light warrior and one of these kids living on the streets. Feijao is really a story of courage, faith, and determination, and one man's mission to empower disenfranchised youth that are caught between poverty and paradise. Thank you so much for your interest in our Indiegogo campaign and the possibility of supporting independent filmmaking. I wanted to let you know that what's really interesting and exciting about this opportunity is that you're not only helping our crew fly to Brazil and create this short documentary, but you're also supporting the kids in this community in Brazil. We're raising enough money to support the foundation for 6 full months, which is really exciting. And any money that's raised over the project line is going directly towards sustaining this foundation. Thank you so much for your interest and support.
Wow.
Wow.
Great.
Wonderful.
And this is actually the Guerreros da Luz video.
What if we took these kids and let them interact together? What if we did that with kids from all over the world? I think we can make the world a better place. Guerreros da Luz is an organization that wants to do exactly that. This organization, the idea for this organization started in 1998 when I was asked to represent the United States in a capoeira tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. While I was there, I met a group of 6 kids who were homeless and living on the streets. Once they met me, they were stuck at my side, always asking questions and always happy. This really changed my life. Ever since then, I've dedicated my life to try and make this experience somebody else's experience as well. What we plan to do at Guerreros da Luz is take kids from New York,
No, not over here. Over
LA,
there.
Africa, Japan, all over the world, and bring them in small groups of kids to interact with other groups of kids. The headquarters is going to be on Morro de Sao Paulo, Brazil. Morro de Sao Paulo is a little island off the coast of Bahia. It's full of nature, not a whole lot of media influence. It's a great place for kids to be kids, interact with life and each other. This fundraiser is to raise money with your contributions to build the headquarters, the world headquarters on Morro de Sao Paulo. This past summer, we were donated a plot of land on the island that has already been cleared to build this cultural center. Now it's time to take the next step and actually start the building process. We have a team of people that are working with us. We have architects, we have engineers, we have teachers, and if you put all of our experience together working with kids, we have over 60 years of experience. This is a great project. It's a world unity project, and it's something that we can all get together and help and share and do our part to change the planet, to change the world, because the children are the future, and we need to do something to make sure that they have a future to take care of.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my project Guerreros da Luz, the World Peace Initiative. What we try to do there is teach kids basically everything they know, anything positive, from martial arts to art, dance, language, math, whatever we can get our hands on. Also meditation, um, the laws of attraction, universal laws of principles, everything that they could use to, be productive in their adult lives and stay out of trouble or as much as they can. So that's what we do. Right now, because of COVID, we are on hiatus, getting ready for phase 2, which is going to be the local, national student exchange and cultural exchanges between the mainland of Salvador, Bahia, Brazil, and the island of Morro de Sao Paulo. So I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait till this COVID thing is over so we can get started working. Like I said, this is the World Media Coalition, Jazz Lovers Television Network, Legacy Builders, Zoom production. Now I'd like to go into a video uh, by one of our great artists with the Jazz Lovers Television Network, which is another part of the World Media Coalition. This video, which is a spoken word video, is by Tonya Gray Thomas. She's a great artist with a great message, and Well, let me just get into the video and let the video speak for itself.
Hello to those unhypnotized. Hello. Those unblind, uncompromised. To the few awake while the masses sleep. To those who cannot be flocked like sheep. To those with unscaled eyes. To those who clearly see the lies. Unable to be mesmerized. Who know that truth is uncivilized. And consciousness cannot be commercialized because it can't be verbalized. To those who will not apologize. To those who know where freedom lies and that existence cannot be actualized and insight doesn't see with eyes. To those who cannot be indoctrinated in this world overpopulated with fear of independent thought where they do not question lessons taught, where gain remains unrealized. Hello to those unhypnotized. I know your peace and your plight. To walk amongst the blind with sight. I wish I could go back to sleep. I wish I didn't know the things I know that my mind forces me to keep. I wish I could be like them and find the value in the dividend and blissfulness to live for the weekend. To believe in fairy tales and that submissive people win. And that the sky is filled with pies. But I am forced to realize, forced to remain awake, unhypnotized.
Great, great. So yeah, that video pretty much speaks for itself. Tonya was on the show on the I Find My Voice show with Van Miller. We hopefully will be getting her on the show again soon to perform more for us. Hopefully we can do something live in Atlanta where she's based, and that should be nice. So we look forward to that, and we'll keep you up to date when that's going to happen. So as far as our show today, World Media Coalition Television, Zoom Television, Legacy Builders Production brings heaven's royals to the stage. Our host today is Her Highness, Her Excellency, Princess Tshepi Motlong, coming out of South Africa. We have also our special guest, Dr. Zulu Matabo Zulu. I don't know if I said that right. If I didn't, please forgive me. We also have Her Excellency Nana Ajoa Nina Womack, coming out of Los Angeles. And we have Hank Rising Sun, Comedic Holistic Healer. We also are slated to have Dr. Ada Juni Okika from UNESCO, and one of my favorite people on the planet, Marie Aset Amen, who is a Comedic High Priestess and also kind of like an aunt to me. So this is going to be a great show. Without further ado, I want to bring on the CEO, CFO, and head sensei of the World Media Coalition Television Network, Makakubu Ali Elbey.
You in the chair, Udama Akiyo.
You in the chair, Udama Akiyo.
I want to speak on the opening piece, Have No Fear. Amar, can you bring that picture up of the Comedic Blues Orchestra so they can see who was doing that music?
Yes, sir.
Would you do that, please? Those are the three people that you were listening to at the opening piece, Have No Fear. That is Hymn Chair Tshepi Kafra, who ascended last 2009 in January, several days before his birthday. It was with the path of Hudi Kafra that I learned after 47 years of the spiritual name Makakuvu being revealed to me, that I learned the true meaning of the name. In the middle is his Hemet in the chair, his spiritual wife, Osset Marie Amen. That was taken at the Ma'at Festival in 2018. So I wanted you to know who was doing the music. That is the Kemetic Blues Orchestra. Thank you, Amar. So again, I want to welcome all of you. And I also want to applaud Her Royal Highness, Princess Tshepi. This is her maiden voyage hosting production. So everyone, please congratulate her, because she's going to be moving forward with Heaven's Royal production in the future on a consistent basis. So again, Princess Tshepi, we applaud you, we love you, and the family of the World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network is forever growing with people like yourself. Thank you for your audience and the people that you bring and the spirit that you bring to our network. I'd like to talk about what the World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network, so everyone can begin to absorb the reality of what this is. This is not YouTube and this is not Zoom. First and foremost, this is unscripted, unrehearsed, one take. That's how I do television. I've worked in television production for almost 25 years. Primarily and only with television productions of color. Mainstream media does not want to hear my voice, and quite frankly, I don't want to tell them anything anyway. However, our business model is a very unique business model. If you've ever done television before, forget about what you did with mainstream media. This is not what my business model is about. The business model is based upon our broadcast platform. News, business, arts, culture, and entertainment last. Entertainment, much like you just heard. Not the type of entertainment on BET, VH1, Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, non-cultural mind destruction entertainment. Our entertainment is uplifting, as you just heard. The song, Have No Fear, is a comedic, spiritual gospel song. You heard an Ejidak coming round, a Katir coming round, a Nook coming round. That's the comedic language, the Maduna chair. Homage to thee, Amin Ra. Show thy face, Amin Ra. I am Amin Ra. An Ejidak coming round, a Katir Amin Ra, a Nook coming round. Then you heard Udama Akayo, Undakim, Meska Ra Uba, Udama Akayo. You heard that all the time. Udama Akayo is not a word, it's a vibratory frequency. Udama Akayo Undakim Eskara Upa means lion of the new dawn sun, heals and strengthens the Uchak, the third eye. So you were listening to comedic spiritual music. Now, so our broadcast platform is news, business, arts, culture, entertainment labs. I was inspired years ago. And I welcome my good friend, Dr. Okika. I welcome. Years ago, during the presidency of Ronald Reagan and the prime ministership of Margaret Thatcher in England, there was a brother from Liberia who was elected president of UNESCO. He said when he was elected,
yeah,
UNESCO needs to develop a alternative information source. So people around the world could know exactly what's going on in Africa. I'm gonna say it again. So that people around the world could know exactly what's going on in Africa, because he wanted UNESCO to develop an alternative information source. When he said that, pay attention to this, Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan immediately pulled funding from UNESCO until he was no longer president for 4 years. That's how important our news coming out to the world is. Jesse Jackson, Louis Farrakhan, none of them said a word about that. Al Sharpton, they didn't say nothing, and they still haven't said a word about it. The World Media Coalition handles news and business. Jazz Lovers Television Network, arts, culture, and entertainment. But here's the reality of that business model. It's a subscription-based stakeholder marketing. Subscription-based meaning $9.95 a month once pre-launch begins in January. Our launch target date is June of 2021. $9.95 a month for life. That's number one. The second reality is your stakeholder position. As you have your subscription-based number, and you invite people to become subscribers, your stakeholder payout commission is $2 per person for life. When the network launches in 2021, June, it becomes $15 a month for life, $15.95, and $3 a month per subscriber under your stakeholder legacy builder line for life. So our television network is the only television network in the world that will pay its viewers to watch our programming. Not only that, once you reach a certain subscriber stakeholder level, 200, which means you're making a couple of $100 a month, you have the opportunity to submit a production concept to the network. If it's accepted, it will be featured in our conventions, which will be our own festivals. Secondly, once you have been accepted and it goes into pre-production, every dollar that you put into it, the network will match. Thirdly, once it begins to air and the network starts to bring on advertisers, you will share in the revenue of the advertising. Fourthly, and I'm very disturbed with this, because on the continent, if you don't have money to pay before you go to the hospital, they won't treat you. If you don't have money while you're in the hospital to pay, they'll stop treating you and kick you out of the hospital. So this is what the World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network is going to do. Going to build in our own healthcare system. Going to build it in. Going to build it in. Our network does not need stockholders because our network has stakeholders. And our stakeholders will benefit immensely for life. For life. And then lastly, it will have the opportunity for everyone to develop their own investment package. I'm Makakuvu Ali El Bey. This is the World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network. I want to thank you. We have some dynamic people here today. We have Princess Tshepi hosting the show. We have a genius brother, Brother Zulu. Forgive me for not pronouncing your name, so I just call you Brother Zulu right now, if you don't mind. There is also Dr. Okika from UNESCO. She's going to talk about her project. And then there's Hank Rising Sun, who's a comedic spiritual healer. I'm wearing some of his stuff right now. See this? He's going to tell you what this is. And then on my leg, I have a magnetic bracelet to help with.
Go to the gym and resistance. You get stronger. Your muscles get bigger.
That's right.
Your muscles get better if you know how to resist them the right way.
This is also this bottle. You put your water in here. This blue crystal alkalines the water. I've had this bottle for over 10 years. So I want to welcome you. And at this point, I want to again congratulate Princess Tshepi, and I'm going to turn the show over to her.
Good evening, Your Highnesses. Good evening, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is such a wonderful evening. It is an evening from the beautiful South Africa. I am in the largest city in Africa, Johannesburg, the home of everybody, and also the human, where the human cradle of humankind is based. And my city is Ekurhuleni, which is the Erythropolis city, the only one probably around here in Gauteng. We have the biggest OR Tambo airport, which is where we will be welcoming you when you land in South Africa. And it is a wonderful day today, and I am so excited about the lineup. I'm so grateful as well to Makukubu, to all the stakeholders, to everybody who is involved for giving us this platform as to become the family. And indeed, we will try and upkeep all the rules and the ethical conduct while we are here, so that we keep on being welcomed. So thank you very much. Without further ado, I'm going to just perhaps state the lineup of today. We have 5 powerful speakers of today. We have Her Royal Highness Nina Womack, who's going to
LA.
Sorry?
Continue. It's okay. Somebody was on, mic wasn't on mute.
All right. Perhaps what we can do just for house rules, if we can keep our mics on mute until when we are about to speak, to help us all. So we are going to kickstart with Her Royal Highness Nina Womack. Then we are going to follow with Dr. Okika. We are going to follow with Dr. Zulu Matabo Zulu. We're going to follow with Mr. Hank. And lastly, we are going to have Her Excellency Marie Osset. So I think as we said, as we come to our guest speakers, we will be introducing them, or they'll just give us their brief introductory. But for our guest speaker that comes from South Africa, so as to save time, I can just say that he is the doctor, the professor of the Madisebo University that is based here in Johannesburg. And also he is an author. And today he will be also giving us a lecture from his own works, the book that he has written about African philosophy of transcendence, the teachings of the African desert flower. So the topic of today really intention is to recharge the African spiritual batteries, to boost the morale of Batu. Batu is now one of the languages, which is my language, Sesotho, and of doctor meaning people. Abantu, Buntu, you always hear of the term, the people of the melanin, and to showcase our authentic and pre-colonial African philosophy that enables us to retake our inalienable role as the unbought and unsold architects of the destiny, and to vibrate as we were intended to vibrate in accordance with cosmic resonance. In this way, to ensure that the African motherland and the African diaspora are free from miseducation, free from poverty, free from pestilence, free from conflict, free from immorality, and to rise and to prosper through an African cultural revolution for the survival benefit of the future generations it was meant to be. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Her Royal Highness Nina Womack to take on the podium. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Good evening to some of you and good morning to others. My name is Her Excellency Nina Womack. I'm from Los Angeles, California, born and raised, a Pan-Africanist for many, many years. And my mission, my purpose is to elevate the diaspora and connect us with Africa so we all can build economic wealth and have our basic needs met. What Princess Tshepi mentioned was so apropos for the times that we're in now with this coronavirus, is to band together and unite and to put forth effort to meet each other's basic needs, because when our basic needs are met as human beings, then we can thrive in business and in our relationships, we're happier and so forth. So part of the work that I do here in Los Angeles, and now it's expanding abroad, is to provide food security for my people, you know, in the South Los Angeles, which are primarily people of color. And so I recover food from grocery stores, healthy, organic food, and I donate it to the community. And the reason why I do that is because I want to make sure my people's basic needs are met, such as having food, having shelter, having water, showing love, and then we can move on from there to build our wealth and our empire. So I have been recently appointed, well, let me go back like a couple of months ago, maybe about 4 or 5 months ago, I became the member of parliament for a sovereign government called the State of the African Diaspora. And they put me in charge of our global food bank because I've been doing food pantry, food distribution work here in Los Angeles. So now the universe has seen that it's time for me to elevate on a global scale to be able to provide food for people, for the diaspora in Africa. So I am working with others who also provide food in Panama for people of color, in Europe, in Nigeria, and so forth. And we're working together in a concentrated effort to boost the agricultural sector, to take, once we have promoted and got people more into agriculture, then we can take the surplus food and continue to donate it to those who are in need. So, so I just also was appointed president of the state, of the member of parliament for the state of the African diaspora. So my office starts December 1st, and I will be president over the members of parliament. And part of my mission is to promote humanitarian thought for people of color and for us to, you know, work on building smart communities. We have to look at the damage that society, that corporate America, that the Europeans have put in this earth, and they're destroying this earth with, you know, global warming and high emissions from just being careless. And Africa is a place of Mother Earth, of nature, where people are calm and people till the land, and, you know, they care about their fellow human beings and a sense of community and respect for the elders. So it is time for us collectively across the world, people of African descent, to come forth in that same thought of working together, of building community, having respect for the elders, tilling the land so our people can eat freely in abundance, making sure we have clean water, making sure we have adequate housing, that we don't have to be without electricity. We don't have to go without, and sleep on the floor and so forth. So this is my mission as a human being, as a Pan-African woman, as a leader. And I would encourage everybody to come forth and put forth your effort to make this world a better place, to build up the diaspora in Africa. And in addition of being, I'll be the president next month of the State of the African Diaspora. I'm also a member of the Universal Zulu Nation, and Makakuvu is also a member too. And I'm proud to be part of the Universal Zulu Nation because we have united globally. We are educating our minds to raise our vibrations to a higher level where we can understand the principles of the earth, the way the planetary systems work, the way the earth works and rotates and so forth, and how we as human beings can connect to, those principles. So I'm a queen with the Universal Zulu Nation, and I represent them, and I'm just happy to be here. So my last thought is, let's work and focus on meeting our basic needs, because then our minds will be right in a better mental state so we can elevate and prosper in everything that we do. Thank you.
Princess Tshepi, can I make a quick comment in reference to something that Her Royal Highness Nina said?
Indeed, you can go ahead, Makubu.
About the emissions. In one of our future productions, I don't know if the brother came on today, he's busy, but Brother Obiku is working on technology whereby he can take a gas-powered engine, put in some fuel cells that contain water, and reduce the gas usage in that motor. He's got a vehicle right now that he's demonstrating that technology on, whereby the exhaust system doesn't emit the harmful emissions that can cause you to lose your life and damage the environment, and it's fueled with water.
Wow, amazing.
Gonna bring him on one of our productions.
Oh, let me know. I'd love to hear him when he speaks. That's fascinating. Our basic elements, water is very vital to our survival. So that's amazing that he invented that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you very much to Your Royal Highness Nina Womack, and the great work that you continue doing. I know that we have been talking and we continue, and soon we will be welcoming you on the African soil. And we have been in talks to say that I will be the very one who will be hosting you in South Africa, and we will pass through to go to Botswana. And probabilities that now you would have met few of our family members. Talking about few of our family members, allow me to also honor a man who has made all of us to meet here, who has made me to be able to have this extended family across the Atlantic, who is His Royal Highness Nanan Andrew Williams. If he is here, and that day, can you please just wave? Because he's the man who has made me, pulled me over the seas and said, please come over and let us collaborate on the SDG number 17. And I learned how to speak that language. At first I thought, how am I gonna remember all those 17 things? And now I just speak them like they are my fingers. And here he is. Ntate, the stage is yours. I honor you.
I can only speak clearly and quietly, so I'll just be here quietly. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. So that is Makubu. Makubu, we also met. Makubu is also not a stranger to South Africa, and I'm still researching Makubu on the Mona Motapa name. So it is well. Next time I'll come back with a fully fledged homework. So to carry on with our program, can we have Dr. Okika? Dr. Okika from UNESCO.
I know she was on.
She was on. So while we are waiting for her, are you there, Doctor? Hello? Hello?
Dr. Kika, are you there? She's there. I don't know if she can.
The audio?
Hello? Hello?
There she is.
Thank
Can you hear
very much.
me?
Thank you. We can hear you now.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
you
Yes,
can
we
speak,
hear
Doctor.
you.
I can hear you.
You can't hear us? We can hear you.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh my God. Why?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Princess, for your moderation and introduction. And I'm glad to be here. I want to thank Makaku, who have been a long-time friends and partners in crime in terms of promoting education and indigenous people within the corridors of the United Nations. And I want to thank my boy Amadu for bringing me up to this event. I'm so glad to be among you, and I've listened to some of the productions, and then the commitment to address the interests of the indigenous people from the children. And I'm also excited by what Princess Nina just spoke all the way from South Africa. The fact remains that we are in a decade of action. And this decade of action is calling on all of us to wake up to this call without any fear or favor. We must wake up to this call because it is important and pertinent to us. The 2030 Development Agenda has been streamlined to meet the needs of the entire world, leaving no one behind. And they were seriously summarized under the 5 Ps. And in the case of us, we are looking at the people, the planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. These are the 5 Ps that the decade of action is calling on all of us to utilize it in addressing the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and 169 targets. Now, if you narrow it down to the people of indigenous community, the planet, the environment of indigenous community, the prosperity, the future of the indigenous community, the peace to address concerns and harmonious existence of the indigenous community, the partnership of bringing up the indigenous community to partner with the global community. These are very, very vital for us to address the decade of action. And the Secretary General did not miss word by calling everyone to action for these remaining 10 years of the SDG, of the 2030 agenda. So in a nutshell, I want us to rekindle, because when the princess was saying, she mentioned focus on meeting our basic needs. What actually is the basic need of indigenous people across the world? A lot have been said, a lot have been done, even from the United Nations, on the indigenous people. Yet, we still feel secondary, we still feel marginalized, we still put ourselves down.
Yes.
The indigenous community are the owners of the land. They are the
That's
original
right.
indigenous people. And what is our focus? How can we put out ourselves to be able to address some of these things? It's not just by mere words. It's not by talking, but by putting it out to align with the agenda of the decade of action, and be able to put ourselves to what is sustainable for the generation and the future we want. So I see myself as an indigenous person, and that is why I'm saying all these things. In most situations, when you look at where I come from, the southeast part of Nigeria, and we look ourselves as indigenous when we talk about the Biafra and all the rest, the indigenous of the country. And the struggle is trying to reposition ourselves. But we are overwhelmed by selfishness and not interest of the entire indigenous people. The I syndrome has to be killed in order for us to meet up with the challenges of the decade of action. So in discussing with Ahmad and Makakuf all this while, I've been thinking that the best way out as an indigenous person to be able to take action, to take a move, and that move that is leading us to organize a program on Friday this week, the November the 13th, and we are looking at addressing quality and inclusive education in indigenous community. This is very vital that I need the voice, I need the participation of the indigenous people. We want to see how to use it to make a submission to the people of indigenous community at the UN about education needs of the indigenous people. I've not seen any university, at least I don't know of any, that is the University of Indigenous People. I've not seen anything that has to do with the curriculum on education of the indigenous people. And I want to need to know that these are very important if we must meet up with the challenges and the needs of the decade of action. So I implore you all to be part of the discussion on Friday. And we are trying to bring up a prince of Siboga who is flagging is a humanitarian campaign on Get On Board 10-year SDG surge into that, to come and launch that campaign for the people of indigenous community. So I would like to bring him to speak. And after that, we take up the next step on how to look at the challenges and gaps in addressing quality and inclusive education for the indigenous community. I would like Ahmad to share the link on the platform so that people will begin to register and participate on Friday. I thank you for this opportunity, and I want to let you know that for this remaining 10 years of the SDGs, of the decade of action, we need to wake up. We need to wake up. We need to ensure that we are not leaving ourselves behind. Instead of let no one be left, leave no one behind, we want to ensure that we are not leaving ourselves behind. The decade of action is for us because we are the owners of the land. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Okika. Thank you. I'd like to quick comment. Dr. Okika and I met at the Turkish embassy over a decade ago. And I had the opportunity to speak with her about that entire question of the so-called education that our people have or have gotten on the continent. The same conversation I had with Princess Tshepi. Same kind of conversation I had with a doctor from Zimbabwe. And there is no cultural learning in the educational system that the oppressor imposes on us. And ever since then, Dr. Okika and I have been on this journey, and she has asked us to develop a curriculum of instruction for our people. And that's why her work is so important. And that's why I'm so thankful that she has come on today. And she has also asked Princess Tshepi to be the co-host for the show on Friday. So let's get the information to everybody, Ahmad, because that's going to be family moving forward.
I will get it up in the chat in about 5 minutes.
All right.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Makubu, and thank you, Dr. Okiko. And talk about the education and the indigenous or African indigenous knowledge. I have just put there the doctor that now I am introducing. We are pleased today that he is going to be answering your question. It is the very unique university that he established right in the middle of Sentin. And the curriculum is exactly as you are saying. So if we can listen, and also I'm not going to interrupt. What I would like to say, I have noticed you, Sadu Odia. What we are going to do is to allow our speakers so that we don't get kicked out. We are in Africa. Sometimes our network cuts. So that then later on we are going to have comments, we are going to have questions. So let's jot down all what we want to ask our speakers so that let's allow them to flow first. And then we will be having questions for them and interactions. So I have noted you, Sadu. So here we go. Now we have our Dr. Zuluma Thabo Zulu, who is from the Madisebo University. And I would like him to take over so that I don't eat up his time. So over to you, Mcholok. Makos.
Thank you very much. Siyabonga kakhulu. Bonjour, Radio Medisa. It is highly appreciated, and I'm very honored to have this opportunity to share some insights about African philosophy. And the comments that were made here, they're very powerful. And I particularly like the comment from the Dr. Okika, if I'm pronouncing correctly. Sorry if I'm not.
Right, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I liked the comment you made saying, we are overwhelmed with selfishness. The I must be killed. So I run a research institute here in Sandton, as the princess has already indicated, Madisebo University College Institute. And we do a lot of research to try to understand the social experience of the Black child, because we feel that in order to solve these problems that bedevil us as a people, you know, lack of unity, lack of collaborations and so forth, we need to understand the actual social environment where the child comes from. And some of the things that we have identified are exactly that, the issue, the foregrounding of self, you know, at the expense of collaboration. So thank you very much for making that comment. It really resonates. Okay, so we are talking about African philosophy of transcendence, the teachings of the African desert flower. So we do a lot of research about African origin of knowledge. So instead of trying to reform a Eurocentric model of education, we decided to just build from the ground up based on the African origin of knowledge, based on African indigenous knowledge. So we've got lots of books, like, for example, one of the books, I'm gonna try to show you here if you guys can see it. It's called Sesotho Dictionary of Mathematics. Africans are the foremost inventors of mathematics, for example. I'll just give you a very trivial example. So around the 15th century, this is the period of the Renaissance in Europe, you know, the scientific and enlightenment. It's very interesting that there is a historical account of a German merchant who asks a university professor of a German university, saying, I want to take my child and give them a business education. What is the best university? And the professor says, well, you know, here we can only teach addition and subtraction. We do not teach multiplication and division. So we recommend that you'll have to send your child to Italy. And the question is, why Italy? Well, that's because Italy, there is a man called Fibonacci. And his father was an ambassador in Africa, in Algeria. And then Fibonacci started learning mathematics. He was taught mathematics by the Berbers in North Africa. And then he discovered these sophisticated mathematical concepts and tells his father, you know, these people are teaching something that we don't have there in Italy. And then what ended up happening is that Fibonacci wrote a book, and then this African mathematics was introduced in Italy, and Italy became a gateway now, so that this mathematics spread throughout Europe. But what's interesting, it took more than 200 years for that mathematics to actually spread. So that's just one example of how much mathematics is so important. And when I talk about philosophy of the Basotho, it's very much based on numerical logic. But I'll just give you some simple concepts here. So there are basically three principles about transcendence. And when we talk about transcendence, we are actually talking about the ability of the African to lift himself, herself above ground, so that she is not defined by the adverse conditions of the terrestrial space. You know, the anxiety, the poverty, the frustrations, the criminality, the violence, the racism, and all those things. So the idea of transcendence is that it must be possible to transcend the conditions. And actually, transcend is something that exists in nature. If you look at the African fish, if you go to the African Sea on the coast, and the water is very salty, extremely salty, and you catch the fish. But actually, you're going to find that this fish, before you can eat it, you actually have to add salt. It doesn't have the salt, even though it was born in a salty environment. And that's because the African fish is a practitioner of transcendence. It doesn't allow the environment to define it. So in other words, it does not internalize the salt, because it understands that if it was to allow the environment to overwhelm it, to define it, that would be a death sentence. So it doesn't allow that. It shakes that off. It keeps the salt at bay, even though it is surrounded by the salt. So that's the whole idea behind transcendence. And there are basically three principles. The first principle is called Pa, and this is coming from the Basotho philosophy, who are in South Africa. And of course, that's the nation of Princess Tshepi. So Pa is the philosophical principle that talks about vertical transcendence. And then the second principle is Tse. Tse is about lateral transcendence. And then the third principle is Se, from a word called Sebuga, and that is about undefined, meaning being undefined, just like African fish. Very important. So now, because of these principles, so it means then that as the African people who have got such amazing civilization, the civilization of Egypt, the Egyptian civilization, Congo, Uganda, the Great Lakes, Ethiopia, South Africa. And I mean, for example, their oldest mathematics, of course, it has always been known to be, let's say, the Libombo from Swaziland, right on the border with Zululand, Libombo bone. Another one is Ishango, of course, from Congo, which is more than 20,000 years, whereas the Libombo is more than 35,000 years. But actually, the latest archaeological discovery says that the oldest mathematical artifact is in South Africa in a cave called Blombos. And that's where they have a certain rock that has these geometric shapes, geometric systems. And that particular rock is more than 70,000 years old. It's about 300 miles outside Cape Town, for example. And in a university in our research institute, we teach these particular concepts. And something interesting is this. This particular rock has got a lot of these triangles, these geometric shapes. Now, in a Western society, a triangle is just a geometric shape that does not have intelligence. It's just a shape, You can do some artistic stuff with it, and that's it. But actually, in the African society, a triangle is actually a calculator. You can do some very sophisticated mathematics with just the triangle. They actually use sticks. So they would take two sticks and connect them in a perpendicular fashion. And that is the calculator. You can calculate anything with it, you see? So, so that's very interesting. So that means that a geometric shape in an African mathematical science has got intelligence. It can do stuff. You know, you can build algorithms with it, for example. So that means you can build a computer. So in this book, that one of the books that we have here is called The Sacred Knowledge of the Desert, African Philosophical Transcendence, which is what my talk is based on. In that book, we also trace the history of the calculator. In a Western society, the calculator was invented in the 1800s. There are calculator that actually works, and it was commercialized in the second half of the 1800s. Well, in South Africa, we have a calculator called Moruba that has been used, that has been in existence, that has been doing all mathematical operations for more than 800 years before the invention of the calculator in Europe. The calculator in Europe is called arithmometer because it was a French engineer who invented that, called Thomas. So I'm making these mathematical concepts to show that transcendence requires this numerical logic, because in order for your mind to be disciplined, mathematics is a very good subject that can discipline the mind. Very important. I always talk to students and say, you know, there's something called discipline. There's something called rigor. And I try to explain the difference to them. That discipline is about the behavior of the individual. But rigor is about attention to detail. Very important. So in order to transcend, it's very important that you understand this concept of power in Sesotho, which is vertical transcendence. And basically, it's like a desert flower. So a desert flower, which is born in a very dry place that doesn't have water, it's always vertical. And it's always looking into the heavens, because that's where the rain will come. And when the rain falls, it springs to life because it knows that the rain will soon be gone. So meaning, when it has an opportunity to revive itself, to rejuvenate, it does not develop self-complacency, because it knows that self-complacency is a threat to its survival. So what does it do when it's raining? Even though it is dancing in the breeze and enjoying the rain, but it actually internalizes the rain, so that when the rain is gone, it can draw from the reserves of the rain that fell. So I'll just read a passage here from this book, the Sacred Knowledge of the Desert, African Philosophical Transcendence. So when I wrote this piece, I was in northern Botswana, and I was in the bush there in the jungle. The apartheid government was sending mercenaries to abduct people, to assassinate people. So we lived in constant fear. But at some point, I realized that, no, you can't live in fear all the time.
Exactly.
So I went to the desert. Now, I wrote this piece called Venturesome Kisses. This piece, Venturesome Kisses, was published in a book called A Woman in the Bush. And it gave birth to this particular book that I'm reading. So I'll just read a passage here. So it says, like a dew wetting the tulips, mouth-watering kisses grazed the lips. A sweet kiss in the killer jungle tasted sweeter than life itself. Life-extending kisses in the bush were ended too soon by ambush. The kisses were punctuated with indelible blood when the umbilical cord snapped between brutal scissors by perils belying the path on forbidden grounds. Now beyond the great Atlantic, the heart still crying for a fugitive of Getman's whoop, Getman's whoop, Getman's whoop, as though I'm still hooked on the memory of the past. This hook is tearing me like a fish in a hook of its own. Now the commentary says, forbidden grounds of love cast their spell. The naivete of love sweetens the love that exists like a desert flower. Deprived of water, the flower waits underground until when the rains fall, it springs to life, knowing that the rain will soon be gone. So those are the principles of transcendence, to say that we cannot allow ourselves to be defined by the adverse conditions in which we find ourselves. And that was the principle of power, vertical transcendence. So the second principle is Te, which is lateral transcendence. So lateral transcendence is about extending ourselves. It's about us trusting not only the people of the bloodline, but also extending ourselves to embrace those who are not of the bloodline, but they are still part of the melanin. You see, there's this, if you look in the jungle, you've got the lions, they are a clan, they form themselves into a group. But in the lion society, you have to be part of the bloodline. Otherwise, you cannot belong. But now, if you look at these animals called the hyenas, you can belong, you have to be part of a bloodline, of course, yes, but you can also come from outside. You can join the hyena clan, not being part of the bloodline. The only thing that's going to define the bloodline is going to be the moral code. If you adhere to the moral code, you follow the cultural way of life, then you will be part of the hyena society. And if they say they have to go after the lions, you have to be part of that. You see, you cannot backtrack of that, or you cannot sell them out on that one. You have to be part of that. So the hyena society, they understand the concept of Te, which means lateral transcendence. And this is similar also to the concept of the pyramid. So the vertical transcendence will be like the apex of the pyramid. You see, the pinnacle of the pyramid. So that means, that part of the pyramid is about cosmic alignment with the stars. It's about cosmic resonance. And then the lateral transcendence is about the base of the pyramid. That's where the power is. That's where the strength is. It's in the base, you see. So that means collaboration. That is the base, the lateral, the collaboration, the extending, being part of people, going out to learn about people that you don't know, and getting to learn about their culture and getting to embrace them and not feeling threatened by people you don't know, right? In South Africa here, we have this problem that we have to deal with. Okay, so the third principle now is that one of Se, which is undefined. Now that's very powerful. As I said, it's like the fish. It's born, there's a lot of salt in the environment, it can't escape the salt, but it doesn't allow the salt to get under its skin. So that means we also have to make sure that we are strong. And basically, also another animal that I want to add here is the animal called the buffalo. The buffalo is a very impressive animal in the sense that the buffalo, just like the hyenas, they also build their own school. You see, the buffalo, they don't go to the lion school. They build the buffalo school. Now, look what would happen if the buffalo went to a lion school. Let's say, the mother and the father decide to send their buffalo child to a lion school. So when the child arrives there, on the first day of class, the lion professor distributes the course outline that says clause 101. And the professor explains about the importance of the clause and how you need the clause to survive in the jungle. And then the professor says, any questions? And the buffalo raises their hand and says, sir, I have a trouble wrapping my mind around the concept of claws. And the professor says, why? He said, no, because I'm looking at my feet and I've got hoofs. I don't have claws. Then the professor says, no, don't worry, it's a matter of time. You will get it. Okay, that is dismissed. Another day, lecture 2. And then the professor is talking about, the claws, the mechanics, the chemistry of the claws, the pores, and so forth. And he even explains that, you can flick the claws and you can retract the claws. And these claws can change the mode. You can be in stealth mode as a result of the claws. And you can come within a striking distance of an antelope and they will not detect you. And then from there, any questions? And the buffalo says, but professor, we buffaloes, we actually don't have stealth mode. We don't use stealth mode. We stomp the ground because we have the hoofs. We must stomp the ground. And the professor says, no, you can't do that. And the student says, why not? So no, because you see, if you stop the ground, creating those seismic vibrations, the antelope is going to run away and we are going to starve to death. And that was lecture 2. That's dismissed. And the third lecture, which is the final lecture now, because after this lecture, they have to write exams. And now the professor says, now you're on a hunting expedition. So this is the application now. He says, now you must make sure that you move through the grass and you drop your head so that your head is hidden. And then you listen to the wind and go against the wind so that they don't pick up your scent. And then you should be on stealth mode. Any questions? And the buffalo said, but I've got big horns. What about my horns? The professor said, no, those horns are not good because those horns are going to scare the antelope. So we have to chop them off. But you see, that is where the African students find themselves in a Eurocentric institution, where they are told that they cannot invoke their ancestors. They cannot invoke the ancestral spirits. So this is why we are talking here about African philosophy of transcendence. Basotho have a very nice expression that says, the good things you must do yourself. Okay, sorry, I had actually timed myself here. So I've got about, I think, 3 minutes left. Okay, so Basotho say the good things you must do yourself. You shouldn't depend on other people doing things for you. Because if you do that, you are gonna rely on something they call a theater, which means external dependency. External dependency is a threat to your survival experience. That's why the hyenas, they run their own school. The buffaloes, they run their own school. And because of that, they can challenge the lions. They can stop the killing machines of the lions because they have this cultural knowledge. And that's important. So just to summarize this point here, I want you to think about the Zambezi River. The Zambezi River starts in Zambia, and its trajectory is southeast to Mozambique into the Azanian Sea, which the colonies call the Indian Ocean. And once it starts moving, what happens is that the Zambezi River doesn't follow the trajectory. It goes into Angola, which is the wrong direction. And it actually goes there for hundreds of kilometers. And at some point, it then begins to slow down and makes a U-turn. Now, I decided to make a calculation from where it's making a U-turn to see how far is it from the Atlantic. It's actually closer to the Atlantic. So then I said, but it may as well continue to the Atlantic. No, 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 no. It must make a U-turn. It only came to Angola to deliver the volcanic nutrients from Zambia. And then it goes back to Zambia to pick up what it left, just like the Sankofa. And then from there, it follows the southeast trajectory. And it goes and reaches Mozambique into the deltas of Sofala and Zambezia, and then into the Azanian Sea. So this is how we should also do. We should remember where we come from. We must fetch what we left behind. Thank you very much. Siyathokoza makhosi.
You in the chair, Udumakiyo. Thank you. Thank you, Your Royal Highness.
Now, Makubu, you can say Lisedi, which is light and peace. Lisedi. I think it still says what you are saying, but in the language of Dr. Hayes, Lisedi, meaning light. Let there be light.
Two in the chair, Uduma chair. You mentioned the Berbers. And when you hear Berbers people, Berbers are Moors. They're the Moors. So when you hear people speak about the Berbers of North Al-Kabuli land, they're speaking about what is known as the Moors in the Moorish Empire. And when the doctor spoke about the Kemetic in the triangle, in the Merkut, the pyramid, these are some of our most ancient spiritual symbols. And the problem with our people is because the enslavement of our spirituality denies us knowing what our most sacred spiritual symbols are. This T-shirt I have on, Amar, can you put it on me, please? This T-shirt that I have on, many of you know the biblical stories of Cain and Abel. This is the story. You see this? Many of you might say, oh, that looks like the Washington Monument. No, the Washington Monument looks like this. This is the wash staff. This and this are brothers. The biblical story of so-called Cain and Abel, this is Osar, Abel. This is Seth, Cain. This is the Haru beheaded. These spiritual symbols, this t-shirt, if you will, is not a t-shirt. It's a vibratory shield of spiritual protection. This is the Ankh. This represents life. This represents life. Many people wear this symbol, but they don't speak about the structure of the Ankh. This represents the woman. This represents the children of the ovaries, the womb. This is the vagina. This is the male, the penis. Where is the woman on the Ankh? The woman's on top.
That's right.
People walking around thinking like this.
That's
the
right.
man ain't on top.
That's right.
It's a spiritual symbol.
Right.
Come out of creation.
That's right. That's right.
So when you hear me say the woman is the mother of the nation, when you lift the woman, you raise the nation, I'm speaking about the Ankh. So I thank you, Professor. I thank you, Doctor. Because our spiritual consciousness is aligned to the physiological and the psychological behavior of the animals. We studied the animals because in their behavior are lessons for man. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Mcholoko Makosi. Thank you, Makubu. So what pleases me as well is that can take us into decades where we will do production. So he also is able to explain the woman in an African indigenous or origins, Makubu, in a very interesting way that is going to blow your mind. I hope that we will have a chance also to host him, and he will explain to you everything exactly as you are explaining it from your symbol there. And then also the cosmic explanation of the cosmic from the African origins, about the shapes as well, as he just alluded briefly earlier in his talk. Mcholoko, thank you ever so much. Thank you for enlightening us. Good people, line up your questions, line up your comments, and then we are going to now have just 2 speakers to come, and then thereafter we will have the questions, we will have the comments, and we will engage them and be able, we have dined, we have eaten, we are even now saying, you know, we hope we could have some more time, at least myself, hope I could have some more time. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, allow us to go to Mr. Hank. Mr. Hank, the stage is yours, sir.
See if I can find him. Is he still with us? He might have fallen off. Okay, it doesn't look like he's on right now. Yeah, see?
Right. Are we waiting for him? We are waiting for him. Is he back?
He's going, Makakuva is going to call him currently.
Okay. So I see there's somebody who is interested in the jewelry. The jewelry that I'm wearing, I work with the women of the rural women that they are doing indigenous jewelry. So this you will contact me. I sell them for them. They make them in Engotu, which is where Future Lift is my organization. I work with the women and youth. So we can all collaborate so we do skills development for them. And then also we are trying to fight the issue of poverty. We are bringing in economic participation of our rural household or our rural communities. And also, as we know, as royals, what makes us to be is the missions, is the serving. In Africa, we are communal people. In Africa, we do things better together. Sibuka, as Mucholoko, as Professor has already mentioned. So these are the jewelry you can find. Yes, you will call me. They can gladly make for you. There's a whole host of them. As you can see, you can wear it with your modern wear, even in the office table. I hope I have answered you. There's a whole lot of them that you'll find, even bracelets and even the earrings and all what they make. So I'm glad that you are closer to me here. So I'm able to even bring more to you so that you can view. Do we have Hank back?
No, he hasn't shown up yet.
He hasn't. Can we?
Yes, I am here.
Can we move on to?
He's
Wait,
here.
he's here.
Okay, Hank, the stage is yours. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, let me see.
Greetings, family from around the world. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm trying to find you
Yes, we can.
on camera.
I'm the light-skinned guy with a crystal on his glasses.
Okay, there we go. I see you now.
All right.
Hold on. All right.
Ready?
You're on. Yes, sir.
Okay. So first of all, I want to thank Baba Maka Kuvu. I said it right. For inviting me on the show. I want to thank all the gods and goddesses who are present on this platform, because we are divinity dreaming a human experience. We are literally dreams within dreams within dreams. We are the alpha and omega of the carbon-based life form. And that being said, going all the way back, thank you, Princess Tshepi from South Africa. My favorite uncle from South Africa is South African Zulu shaman Credo Mutwa. And I acknowledge him in the afterlife because he's an ancestor. Giving thanks to the ancestral energy of Dr. Tshepi, giving thanks to the ancestral energy of George Washington Carver, giving thanks to the ancestral energy of Nat Turner, Harriet Tubman, Chief Geronimo, Chief Osceola, Chief Sitting Bull, Chief Crazy Horse, giving ancestral acknowledgement to all our revolutionary guides, teachers, not acknowledging Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, acknowledging that there is no greater divinity than that which is in our hearts. And in ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, Nuk Pu Nuk, I am that I am. I am within me acknowledges that I am within you. And I want to thank my brothers and sisters who are on this show right now. Brother Supreme, Sahu, Odiam. I want to thank Taria. I want to thank Brother Kyle, who's on the show, has joined us. I want to thank all of you for being born. Thank you for being alive. Thank you for surviving the storms and the winds of our adolescence. And the elders, I want to thank you for all the wisdom you have accumulated in this life, greater than any library before or even now. Thank you, my brothers. Thank you, my sisters. And together, I want to also acknowledge my brother all the way over there in was it Sweden, Switzerland?
Switzerland.
Ahmad?
Yes, Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Zurich. Yes, sir.
Brother, how'd you end up in Switzerland?
That's a long story.
I believe you, brother. I believe you. I want to thank you for, this creating this whole colorful platform. And I have one theme I want to share with everyone. If you don't have a pistol, you better have a crystal.
Do I?
Our ancestors did not become masters of the universe by the use of, and let me adjust my camera, by the use of lead. We come from glory and excellence by the use of crystal technology and calling on our I am divinity. All right. So we literally are ascendants of ascended masters. So I want to acknowledge our African ascended masters to be on this platform. In the name of love, I call on the ascended master, the Christ, the latest Christ born in the Congo, Simeon Toko, to please be on this platform. I acknowledge Simeon Toko family. Look him up. Simeon space Toko, Toko. He is the latest Christ born in the Congo, and he called an army of black angels to chase the Belgians terrorists out of the Congo by turning over their tanks with the black angels, and also they were bulletproof, muscle bound, carbon black, and they turned over the heavy guns and artillery. Simeon Toko. This is in the early 1900s. I want to acknowledge the ascended master of Senegal, Sheikh Amadou Bamba, who is also an avatar, bulletproof, fireproof, hungry lion proof, who founded the city of Tuba. So our brothers and sisters throughout the globe, think global, act local, but do it with a crystal. Invoke your I am, meditate into your crystal. Science, contemporary science says a crystal amplifies your intentions 600%. So keep the vision of our ancestors because success is our destiny. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ashe.
Dua, oh, dua, urmakiyo.
Just so you know, Hank, I have a house full of crystals. I sleep with crystals, especially the opal crystal, because the opal crystal allows you to open your vision from your uchat, your third eye, while you're sleeping. Hank and I have known each other gone over 30 years.
Decades.
There you go. Look at that selenite crystal and amethyst. What was that?
Hey, just for the record, I get my crystals from Hank too. Islam.
Right on. You know what I love about these productions? You will never hear us say to someone, you're running out of time, we got to go to commercial break.
Peace and love to all.
Right on. Hank, beautiful. Thank you, Princess Tshepi. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Thank
I have
you
to get
so
back
much.
to the lab. Blessings.
Blessings to you. I like Hank, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now let me tell you something else that you did not know about Professor. As you can see that he's wearing a shawl. As you heard me say Mucholoko. Probably, I don't know how, maybe he can come in and tell me how to translate it. He also spent most of his time in Canada. That's where he probably got his tertiary education. So he probably also, he has the, Muchologo, do you want to come in and explain in the way that Hank will also understand how you connect still to him?
Okay.
The Muchologo.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. So a Mucholoko is a doctoral practitioner who is trained in therapeutics, metaphysics, and cosmology. And that was, of course, in the Free State here. And then, of course, prior to that, I went into exile, like I was describing, for example, about the writing of the book, the desert book, being in the desert in Botswana. And then from there, of course, I went to Canada. I lived in Canada most of my life, more than 20 years. Actually, I've got 2 children who are Canadian natives, who are born there, who live there. So I came here to South Africa about 10 years ago. And then basically, so in Canada, I trained as an engineer, software engineer. So I'm also an inventor. I have a number of intellectual property certificates registered with the federal government of Canada. And yes, and I've done lots of work for companies like the Google search engine. So I designed one of their graphics engines in San Francisco. Also, there's a company that makes ATM machines called NCR. It's actually an American company, but they have a branch in Canada also. That sort of stuff. But the calling is the one that brought me back to the motherland. So the ancestors, the spirits, yes, yeah.
Marcos.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So Hank, do you connect? Hank?
I see him, but we can't
He
hear
spoke
him.
about okay. You also
bro.
mentioned about your great uncle, the late Credo Mutwa, and Professor comes from Free State, which was also not far from where Credo, the late Credo Mutwa was. So thank you very much. So I was showing how much we are related, how much we are connected. That's what I was trying to demonstrate.
The spirit of Ubuntu lives.
Yeah, boo.
As Ubuntu, Muhammad Ali said, me, we.
Yeah.
We, me. Muhammad Ali spoke on Ubuntu.
Yes.
Nelson Mandela spoke about Ubuntu. Ubuntu means collectively we can be success.
Amandla, Matla. There is power in unity. Right. Yes, thank you very much. Oh my goodness, this platform is just so exhilarating. So shall we now go and listen to Her Excellency Marie Osset, please?
Hotel. And there's a rack, I'm in Ra. Honor to thee, I'm in Ra. Anuk Daitir Net, I'm in Ra. I am the power of Amin Ra. Anuk Amin Ra. Duau Netsut Tshepi. Duau Amar Tir the chair. Duau Makakuvu him the Tshepi. Duau Nebu Netsu Ha Netsu honoraries. Anuk Alset Marie Amen. My temple is called Het Nache Shishini Hechanub, Kara in Amid Ra. For 7.5 years, I was trained in this temple by Harry Kafra. And Harry Kafra was a special, and is a special.
What is that waiting for? God, this shit. God damn.
A soul, and the Neteru used him in the pyramid matrix, a guide to survival and success. He spent his whole life in the Kemetic Rekhaiti, Kemetic spiritual science, which I learned, and therefore is my dharma, my duty to express what I had learned for these 7.5 years. Harry Kaffer was working before he met me, and he's still working. And at the Het Nache Shishini Hechana Kara in Amin Ra, I teach what the Spirit gives me. And I have special connection with him, the Tshepi Harry Kafra. So that is my guide in his A Guide to Survival and Success. His book been around for a long time, but what people didn't get out of it is that it's a practical, and it is not the only way. It's one way, and the professor has opened my eyes to another extraordinary worry of Kakapakian Black geniuses. And I will not have a long speech, but I will say Duau Neteru, on Neteru, Neteru, on this one spirit, Mare is love, is the only religion, as Harry Kafra said in his Pyramid Matrix, A Guide to Survival and Success. And I will have my pyramidmatrix.info so you can, if you would like to understand that particular engineer used of the Neteru, so that you can follow whatever the Neteru shows me. Because our singing was straight from the Tinache, the spiritual power in Neteru. And that is what I have to contribute to the world before I go on to the other land. Duau Neteru for having me here, and Duau Nebu, everyone. Hotel.
Dua na chair. Umakio.
Two quick things. Oset, Mariana, and Urumakio.
Urumakio.
Would you grace us with the oldest hymn in the world, if you don't mind doing an acapella, the hymn to Ra?
I will do that.
Doing the chair, Urumakio.
I was just reading that, and is on the first plate of the what the English call the Book of the Dead, but what we call the Ba in Haru, book coming forth by day. Duare Kef Ubenek and Kutip Tepent Pet Dua Rat Kef Hatep and Pet Dement in Asar on the chair Hotep in Neteru Nebu Anejarak Itayan Kepara Keparayan Gimen Neteru Kak Ubanek Pes Mute Kati and Suten Neteru Suten Nebu. Praise Ra as he rises in heaven's eastern sky. Praise Rahat as she sets in heaven's western sky. Behold, Asar, the scribe of the holy offerings of all the Neteru. Behold, Asar, the scribe of the offerings of all the Neteru. Thou risest, thou shineth, crowned by thy glory. Mother of all the Nechiru, and Lord of us all. Duare, Keth, Ubanekin, Kut, Ibtep, Int, Pet. Dua, Rahat, Keth, Hatep, and Pet, Deme. In Dasa, on the chair, Hotep, in Netirune.
Doing the chair, doing the chair, doing the chair. Urumakiyo. Shia Osset also mentioned the Pyramid Matrix. This book was written by Rikafra. And this is the book that covers all of the major Kemetic vibrational frequencies of creation that are known as the deities in the Ru, the coming forth by day, erroneously named the Book of the Dead. I had the opportunity of also being asked by Harikafra to write an introduction to the chapter on Horeko Tea. So through the temple of the white and gold lotus, the Het Nachir Shishini Het Charneb Kara Amin Ra. Please support that temple. Please support all of the works that are being presented. I have also had requests from Dr. Okika for Her Excellency, Her Royal Highness Nina Womack to be a guest on the show on Friday. So I've sent Nina's contact information to Dr. Okika. Princess Tshepi is already going to be on the show. Those of you in the viewing audience are going to open it up. And I just wanted to say thank you for that beautiful rendition of the Hymn of Ra by Osset Marie Amen, Hymn to Tshepi, High Priestess of the Temple of the White and Gold Lotus. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mama Osset. Thank you so much, and blessings to you and the high vibration we send. I see Prof. I know that there are people that wanted to have some comments and questions. Prof needs to leave because he has to switch location from where he is. Perhaps Sadhu, I know that I want to let you go first, but are there any comments that we would like to say to Prof before he leaves, or has he exited?
This is Sadhu. How's everyone doing? Shine forth. Blessing to everyone. Blessing to your ancestors. For if it wasn't for your ancestors, I wouldn't have a chance to speak to any of you. So gratitude for the time to speak to everyone. I just want to add on to what was being said earlier about indigenous people and us trying to get established, you know. I just basically feel like, you know, we have to find a way to come together as a whole. Trusted individuals come together as a whole and do our best to bring it together ourselves. We don't need to ask them for anything. We have to build it ourselves, put our foundation ourselves, and not depend on the colonizer for establishment. And I feel that this is a mistake that a lot of us has done, is trying to get recognition from someone when it's them who need recognition from us. You are on our land, you are on our planet. So we have to do it for ourselves. It don't matter which indigenous tribe you are from, whether it's Moor, Arawak Moor, Taino, whatever, African lineage, it doesn't matter. Once we know we're indigenous together, we get together as a whole and create a foundation for ourselves together. This is what I feel. You know, if you can agree or disagree, but this is what I feel. Islam, blessing to all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those comments. So before we let the professor go, there's a question here, Prof. I don't know if you can see it, from Lebona Mafisa, who says, the principles in your book are based on Sesotho language, which to him or her, as Mosotho, carries deep spiritual concept that can be misinterpreted or lost in some other languages. Which language do you use? I got lost now. You use to transmit, which language do you use to transmit knowledge to your diverse students? Don't you find the colonial language, i.e. English, a barrier to effectively pass the message? Lisedi, Mucholoko, Makos, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Thank you very much for the question. It's a very important question. In fact, what's interesting is that I just like the comments that were made by the previous commentator, who was saying that we have to do things ourselves, and we actually failed trying to get recognition from somebody else. We need to do things ourselves. We need to build our own recognition. We need to get recognition from our own people. The melanin has to give us the recognition, not us going outside. So those comments are very powerful stuff, and I like that. And in fact, connecting with the principles that I was talking about and language, when we're doing research, we first were kind of trying to follow these Western methods of methodology. We soon realized that actually Western methods of research, they are actually not giving you access to reality as it should be. So we had to develop our own methods. And one of the most important methods is linguistics. Linguistics is key, I'm telling you. You know, if you don't have access to one of these indigenous languages, you actually do not have epistemic access to the richness of ideas. So now, of course, it's a challenge because the publishing platforms and you know, the institutions that we have to interact with, the government, they all use the language of the oppressor. And as a result, that is a bit of a challenge for us. But what we do is we do a bit of parallelism. So meaning we promote the indigenous language while also still using the English language. For us, we see the English language only as an entry point to some of the ideas, because some of the people have lost African words. I'm going to give you an example. So there is a word in Sesotho called mudumedi. And if you ask people and say, what is mudumedi? The people will say mudumedi is a Christian, somebody who goes to a Christian church, and that person is mudumedi. So that word means has acquired that meaning. But now the Christian church in South Africa came through colonization. So and yet this word mudumedi was there long before colonization. So as a research institute, then we started saying, okay, what was the original meaning of the word mudumedi? And we actually found that the word mudumedi has to do with the star systems. So for example, when the star, like a shooting star, you know, when it trails across, the Basotho, they call it muchochonon. But if that particular star was to fall to the ground like a meteorite, they no longer call it muchochonon. They now call it lidumedi. So the word lidumedi means it came from the stars. So the word mudumedi does not mean somebody who goes to church. It means somebody who came from the star systems, somebody whose ancestors came from the heavens. So I'm just going to read just a passage here from the book, the Sacred Knowledge of the Desert, African Philosophical Transcendence. Just want to read a comment here. It says the Genesis. And it's not talking about the Bible Genesis, it's talking about the African indigenous Genesis story. It says, the Basotho, like other Africans, trace their genesis to the cosmos. They originate from Mukhubu wa Khanar, the galactic core. Now, Mukhubu in Sesotho means the navel, the umbilical cord. So they are saying that there's an umbilical cord in the star systems. That's where we come from. Now, one of the stars is called Dosamasiu, which is Sirius. And this star is regarded as a ternary star system. And some of the stars, they are called Mahaha, and Mahaha is not visible to the naked eye. Another star, Mabeleha, is also not visible to a naked eye. So as if that's not incredible enough, Basotho also pay tribute to Dosa, Jupiter. Now, the axiom says, Hobona Dosa, Limadinyana Iona, meaning to see Jupiter along with his youngs. The youngs refer to the moons of Jupiter. These moons are not visible to the naked eye. Now, that raises the question, how could you have known about the orbiting stars of Tosamasiu without being assisted by some instrument? How could they have known of the invisible moons of Jupiter without a telescope? The Basotho, without a technological instrument, know about invisible stellar bodies. This is another confirmation they are from the cosmos. They don't need telescopes to trace their origins to the cosmos. This knowledge was passed on to them by their foremothers and forefathers across many generations and long before the advent of the Europeans in South Africa. So language is key. We could not gain epistemic access to this knowledge if we were conducting things in the English language. We had to go under the cover to the indigenous language. See? And we see that also, for example, even in things like gender relations. Having lived in Canada most of my life, I quickly learned that European societies are very much patriarchal societies. You know, the men make the rules. And then, but in the Basotho society is a very much matrilineal society. Very interesting. I'll give an example. So there is a woman called Rahadi, right? Is a very important figure among the Basotho, Rahadi. And what's interesting is that this Rahadi, when she gets married, instead of her taking the name of the man takes the title of Rahad. The man becomes called Rahad. I've never seen that. If a man marries Rahadi, the man now gets called Rahadi. He inherits the title from the woman. That just shows you the matrilineal power of that society. You see? So, but these things, for you to access them, you need the language. So language is very key. So I agree with the commentator that there are challenges we have to deal with, but we are using linguistics as part of the research methods in order to gain access to the authenticity of knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you so much for answering that in such another powerful way that, you know, we would spend another night trying to unpack as well, because as we were touching, those are topics on their own. I hope Lebona is answered. Sadhu, did you speak? I don't know who was speaking. Was it you, Sadhu?
Can you hear me?
Was it you who was speaking earlier on?
Yes, I spoke earlier on.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much to you. Another question, could people to any of the speakers?
Yes.
Some question, right.
For Dr. Ala, in the chat, I put in the EdFu Foundation. We'd like to help you with your follow-up through ECOSOC about the indigenous realization of your vision. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Ambassador. We will be working closely with Dr. Okoki. I'll tell you as well, and also the Institute. I think, Ambassador, I'm gonna send you more pictures. We went yesterday, right in the middle of Sentin, and we will collaborate, because we were talking academically as well with you about the collaboration between the academics in the US and with us down here, of which also Professor himself, because he comes from Canada, it's not going to be foreign to him, and I think that will be welcomed. So also, as Batlokwa, we are at the foundational stages also of establishing the Queen Mantatisi Cultural and Heritage Institute, which is going to have the academic and the museum, of which Professor has already started. So we will also be in that collaboration. We'll be learning from him as well, because he's already ahead of us. So all those things, and the mathematics book in Sesotho, and it's just mind blowing. It's just mind blowing. That's where probably the Queen Mantatis will be capturing those things. Some will have translations, some will be left as they are, so that our heritage remains. So thank you very much to His Highness Prince Nanan. We welcome that. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah. And any other question or comment?
Yes, I'd like to know from Dr. Zulu, where is the book? Where can someone get the book? Is it on Amazon?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Your interest in our books is highly appreciated. So most of our books, they get shipped from our institute here in Sandton. But we do have, I think, about maybe 2 books. There's one book, this book, The Sacred Knowledge of the Desert, is available at Amazon. But we would like to say that if you order from Amazon, make sure you order from where it says Madisebo University College Press, because what we have seen, we have the problem of other people who are now selling our books and the money doesn't come to us. You know, isn't that sad, right? Yeah? You know,
can you give me the title one more time? Can you hold the book up so I can write down?
Okay, sure. Let me hold it. Can you see?
Prof?
Yeah,
because I have had contact details, the very same information about. I'm gonna send to you, Nina.
Okay.
Oh, fantastic! Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And we can be in comms and see how we make sure that you get the right book and through the right channel. Right. In fact, everyone, because I have put my details there, and then we can just send all the details to you.
Yeah. Hey, can you please? This is Sadhu. Can you also send me the information too, please? I would like to support brother as well. It'll be much appreciated.
Okay. Right. You have the contact to Ahmad, Sadhu?
No, I do not. I do not have it.
If you can place your contact or email in the chat, get to you.
Thank you.
All right.
Also, Princess Tshepi, in the chat, I put in the information about the HBCU consortium connecting with the universities in Africa. That's through Kwabeni Boateng. He's in Atlanta, but I think it'll be very interesting and necessary for us to connect the university in South Africa with that outreach.
Well, if he's in Atlanta, you need to connect me to him. I got a question for you, Prince Yaldo. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Where did you get that bad King of Benin background?
That is, in fact, the Ed Fu Foundation logo. I put the information in the chat. They're our major sponsor. They're based in Oakland, California. When the founder, Sheldon Williams, had a daughter in 1999, he wanted to make sure she understood that she and we are indigenous to the world.
Two in the chair. That's beautiful, brother. My favorite colors too, black and gold.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are about to roll up. We are about to now come to an end of our very interesting and such an exhilarating show today. So thank you very much for the details that we can see there, so that we are able to get to the books. There's a host of them. There's quite a number of them, but we do hope that we can make time again for Professor for more other topics on this on this subject, which is a subject that we are all about. We are asserting who we are and restoring all what has been stolen from us, actually, and looking back like Sankofa, as he has mentioned, to get that which we need for us to move forward. Any other comment? If there is none, I'm going to hand over to, or anyone who would like to say something? and allow me to acknowledge all of you. I had already put the acknowledgement to say thank you so much for being here. Sometimes others I don't see because we see Huawei, we see Samsung. We are not able to see the names, but we value each one of you. Let us see you on Friday, where we will be talking to UNESCO. And because we are talking about institute, because we are talking about museums, UNESCO is very vital to us. So Dr. Okoki, we would like to connect and network with her so that we are able to be able to get the services that they offer to us even here in Africa. So that will be a very interesting one. So if we can all be there, it will be quite highly appreciated. Ahmad, shall I hand over to you now?
I'd like to quickly, before Ma takes us out, I want to acknowledge a very special person on this production, Miss Jessica Clark. She's been in the shadows. I know she's on, I saw her. So you can't be hiding from me. Jessica Clark is the wife of a very good friend of mine who passed away. He and I and two other brothers started the Wine Dance Day celebration over 52 years ago, Carl Clark. I want to acknowledge her. I want to thank her for coming on. I'm also going to be doing the Wine Dance Day story with her. Carl wrote a book, 11798, about our experience growing up with Black Youth Awareness Committee and the movement back in 1968, 69. So I just want to thank her for coming on and acknowledge her to the audience as well. Ahmad, you got it.
What am I here? So I'm just typing stuff as we go along. I would like to make a request. While we're closing this out, everybody who's present, if you could add your contacts to the chat, and just above the chat, to the right-hand corner, there's a box with 3 dots in it. You can actually save the chat so that you can save everybody's contact. We need to keep this momentum going. Anybody who has anything going on, we should connect with somebody else who could probably connect us with somebody else. The more connections that we make along the diaspora, the better off we will be, so that we don't have to ask for handouts. We can just hand out other stuff to our own people, which is absolutely necessary. Before we close out the show, I want to thank everybody that's here. I also want to acknowledge 2 people, 2 of our young legacy builders, Devin Jihad Johnson, who's in the show, he came on, and Cheryl and Neil. Devin is my partner in crime, and one of my chief advisors, talented brother, artistic brother. He's the next Basquiat. So we work together in several things, mostly in entertainment and leisure here in Brazil, Salvador. Also, I'd like to acknowledge Sherilyn Neal. Sherilyn Neal is a beautiful young woman, one of the only African Americans that participated in the ELIA Queen, I forgot what it was called, but in the ELIA competition to become Queen of the Bloco ELIA. So, one day she'll come on and talk about her experience. So definitely want to just acknowledge them and their presence. Thank you for coming on. Everybody else who came on, Dua Nature for everybody, Udamaka Yor, and greetings and thanks for all of you on behalf of the World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network. Please try to be on Friday for Dr. Okika's presentation with UNESCO. Everything that we do here is important, and everybody's presentation is important. We want to support each other. The more numbers we have in these presentations, the better. Share, 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 and share, because sharing is caring, and we definitely need to care about each other. And that's the only way we're going to make this happen. This is us. This is an end, and this is just how we have to do it. Makakuva, do you have anything you want to add right quick?
No, just take us out with Unhypnotized and Have No Fear.
All right, Udamaka Yor.
Udamaka Yor. A little entertainment closing out, folks. You know how we close out.
Yes, sir. All right. Unhypnotized.
to those unhypnotized, those unblind, uncompromised, to the few awake while the masses sleep, to those who cannot be flocked like sheep, to those with unscaled eyes, to those who clearly see the lies, unable to be mesmerized, who know that truth is uncivilized, and consciousness cannot be commercialized because it can't be verbalized, to those who will not apologize, to those who know where freedom lies, and that existence cannot be actualized, and insight doesn't see with eyes, to those who cannot be indoctrinated in this world overpopulated with fear of independent thought, where they do not question lessons taught, where gain remains unrealized. Hello to those unhypnotized. I know your peace and your plight, to walk amongst the blind with sight. I wish I could go back to sleep. I wish I didn't know the things I know that my mind forces me to keep. I wish I could be like them and find the value in the dividend and blissfulness to live for the weekend. To believe in fairy tales and that submissive people win. And that the sky is filled with pies. But I am forced to realize, forced to remain awake, unhypnotized.
I'm gonna remind everybody about the channel too, please, on YouTube.
You have to unmute yourself first.
Do that. Yeah, I should do that, right? Yeah, so please, everybody, if you can, go to our YouTube channel, World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network. Yes, that is the entire name on the YouTube network. Please come check us out. We have all our old shows, starting with the Sapdet, the Wet Rimpet at the beginning of the new year, the Kemetic New Year. We also have a lot of good stuff on there. We definitely want you to check it out, share it, subscribe, so that you can check up on all our old shows that we had. And then if you're not able to participate in the Zoom shows, the new shows also are good to see. We will have them up in a couple of days. Like this show, I'm going to try to put up tomorrow as early as possible. So if you want to do that, please do. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with their family, dogs, cats, uncles, aunts, everybody. We want to make sure that this information gets out, and we just keep moving.
And I'm sorry, folks. Sunday, the 15th of November, Her Excellency Nina Womack and I will be hosting the Universal Zulu Nation 46th anniversary of hip hop and 47th anniversary of the Zulu Nation Zoom Legacy Builder television production during the meeting of the minds, which will be held in New York. And we're going to broadcast live on Zoom. So that flyer will be available by tomorrow evening, no later than Thursday morning. That's Sunday. So we'll be linking you for that as well. Thank you.
Yes. I would like to request a quick, maybe 6 extra minutes of your time. I know I want to play Kafra's song, Have No Fear, We Are the Netaru. But I'd also like to play a song that I produced. Today is what would you call it? I forgot it. Today's the premiere. So it's actually my first produced track. mastered and mixed and mastered, and it's actually on the air. So I'm gonna be it's selling, and it's on all streaming networks. If you want to check it out, it actually helps support Guerreros da Luz, and I hope you like it. It's an electronic kind of Afro tech song, so I'm just gonna play it, and I hope you all like it.
Right on.
secret, and glory, ancient time, every name of us, earth, what, pineapple, for in the art of seeking, there is much comfort. So as spoken, so let it be written, so let it be done, so shall it be, for now, ever forward, ride, never touch around. Pine, as you always, in divine excellence, in divine greatness, with my every day, all day, Atumra, Hotep.
Okay, and that was it. That's the first. You guys are the first to receive that song on its day of premiere. I hope you all enjoyed it.
Definitely.
Great. So now I'm gonna let Kafa take us out.
I get to lay down some tracks with you, some drums on that, but I can skunk that up for you.
Let's do it. I hope to continue. I want the music to fund the dream.
This is Comedic Blues Orchestra. Quartet Marie Arnett, Marie Kafka, Extended Master, Makaku.
Attack them who him the Jeru.
Yes.
Attack them who him the Jeru. Attack them who him the Jeru. Attack them who him the Jeru.
Thank you very much. That's the end of our show, people. If you have to go, you can go. We appreciate your presence as always. Come back on Sunday at 15 and keep in touch. Peace and love.
Attack them in the which means have no fear within the Jeru. Have no fear, you're in the Jeru. Have no fear within the Jeru. The noon now is rising. Have no fear within the Jeru. Have no fear, you're in the Jeru. Have no fear within the Jeru. The noon now is rising. Have no fear within the Jeru. Have no fear, you're in the Jeru. Have no fear within the Jeru. The noon now is rising. Let's hash it. Right come around, continue around, you come around. 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 Right come around, continue Put the sensor around you, right? Protect yourself, the right? Put the sensor around you, right? Protect yourself, the right? Put the sensor around you, right? Protect yourself, the right? Masquerade.